What the Tech is brought to you by Wink, the world's only personalized wine club. Right now, Wink is offering listeners $22 off your first order when you go to trywink.com/WTT. That's trywink.com/WTT.
What's the tech?
Everybody, welcome to What the Tech. I'm Andrew Aaron. Of course, I'm joined by Mr. Paul Thurrott. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good.
We just finished our Apple event. We did live coverage of the Apple event. We got kicked off of YouTube. We got flagged for copyright content.
Yep.
So we're doing this live right now.
Covering a press event is
You cannot.
This is something you can't do.
Yeah, it's something you're not allowed to do. So we are here now. I could have reconnected. I decided that we're just gonna keep it live on Twitch right now. We're gonna do a quick show because we just spent about 2.5 hours or 3 hours. No, 2.5 hours almost. Doing this. I don't even know what date it is. I'm about a bottle.
2 glasses of wine past being able to do math. Like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's like Joe Namath going out on the field.
Yes, exactly.
And they're interviewing him. And he goes, I don't care if my team is struggling.
He's like, you're beautiful.
You're beautiful. We just saw the Apple event talking about beautiful. Paul and I we did a Mystery Science Theater-esque Apple event coverage here. So I just want to go through some of the quick stuff and kind of take it more seriously and discuss this for people downloading the podcast, because I highly doubt you guys want to listen to us via podcast form doing the show that we just did. So we're just going to keep that for a live audience, and then this is going to be the show. Apple, the biggest news was that they're reopening the Fifth Avenue store, right, Paul?
What?
No, that wasn't the biggest story.
No, that's not it.
So let's go through this. So Apple announced new iPhones, new iPhone 11 and iPhone 11 Pro.
Let's go through it in the order they went through it.
Okay,
right?
you go. You start it.
And let's see if I can remember what the first thing was. Was it Apple Arcade? I think it was.
Apple Arcade for $4.99.
So they talked about debuting this month. I don't remember the exact date, but it's September something soon. $4.99 a month, which is a great price for the entire family. So if you've got a bunch of people on your Apple account in your family, that's great. That's a good price. It's probably not going to launch with a ton of content, I guess. And it looks like mostly, kind of kidsy, mobile-y kind of games, not like gritty, action fighter type games.
Yeah.
But whatever. It's hard to argue with the price. And they also had a similar price later for Apple TV Plus, which is not debuting until the beginning of November, and will ship with almost no content. But I think everyone expected both of those things to be more expensive. I think that Disney coming in at $6.99, it might have helped trigger a price reduction.
What was the price range you anticipated it would be at?
$9.99.
You thought $9.99.
What I figured was they would go $9.99 on each of the services. And then what they would say is for $19.99, you can have all of them, And they didn't talk about that kind of consolidation at all.
Well, you know what? I think they're probably holding off on that, right?
Okay.
They're probably going to see how, once everything is going and they see how successful everything goes. I can't see Apple Plus becoming a Netflix competitor of any sort.
I think a lot of these things are complementary. I mean, it's like, will Disney ever unseat Netflix is kind of the wrong question. It will be a viable other option. I don't know that a lot of people will kill Netflix, but my wife and I, we've had this experience where, like, if we didn't have kids and a bunch of people on the accounts, I mean, honestly, we could get by with one service. We might switch it up every 2 months and just see what's new somewhere else. And you could do that for a while, but whatever. We'll see how it goes. Apple, was it the arcade service that's going to be free with new iPhone and iPad purchases?
Yeah,
for a year. I think it was arcade. That's
maybe both.
That's
I can't remember.
That's gonna build an audience. That's going to attract developers.
So they started with that. They demoed a couple games. All these games look the same. If you show me these games about 2 years ago, I would have told you that they're the same exact games that we're seeing today.
What was that chicken crossing the road game they had? Remember, it was on Apple TV, and it's
like
on
years
mobile.
ago. Years ago.
Yeah, 2, 3 years ago, whatever. Jeez, it doesn't matter. Anyway, you
Give
know
me
what
the
I'm
name.
saying.
What do
One
you
of
think the name is? Hold on. What do you think the name is?
it's something like it's chicken
Cluckaroo?
or clucky or, so there's some kind of I don't remember. I wasn't even drinking today, but,
Yeah, and I
um,
and I have been
whatever.
all day.
You know the game I mean, but what the Frogger
Yeah.
game looked a lot like that.
Crossy
Uh,
Road.
thank you. Okay. I was
How
right there.
how am I drunk? And I'm not drunk, but how am I lit?
Sure.
I would say I'm a little lit.
Lit. Lit.
And I was able to come up with the Crossy Road.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's hard for me to
Cosby
come up with
Road
the
is a
names of
very
things
different
I
product.
barely care about. Anyway, so, whatever, it's a mobile service. They, by the way, didn't show any games playing with controllers. It was
No,
all
none.
on-screen stuff. Um, and, it's priced right. I can't complain too much about that. It was priced right. I don't care about it personally, but I thought that was fine. So there's arcade, right? And what was the second one? Was it Apple?
The
Was it
Apple
Apple TV
Plus.
Plus? Apple
Yeah,
TV
Apple
Plus.
TV Plus.
Yeah, so, they showed off that one, really expensive looking Game of Thrones kind of thing with, that Jason Momoa guy, that slab of meat. Um,
Yes, the slab of meat.
I just, the most non-actory actor I've ever seen. But yeah, I mean, there's gonna be like office comedies and blah blah blah. I don't I just don't care about that personally. But like I said earlier, I think that they have the opportunity to have, they'll have a certain number of people. I mean, it's not going to fail immediately or anything like that. I mean, they're throwing a lot of money at it.
No,
So,
they are throwing a lot of money. Actually, I guess I could talk about it now. My son is in a Apple TV Plus movie that's coming out soon. He was
well,
casted. It's actually weird. I never talk about it, but my son was like he has an agent and a manager, which is
okay,
bizarre.
okay.
And he went to the way that it happened. He went to a fitting for like kids clothes,
Hmm.
and they loved him because he's great, and he started getting like these like little tiny roles, which is like not bad. We're putting the money away for a college fund for him, but he's in a Rashida Jones and Bill Murray movie that's coming up, and
Right.
it's an Apple TV exclusive. It's like direct to Apple TV. So I'm imagining that the entire platform is going to be going to be with these, exclusive Apple TV products that casted, TV stars and movie stars of the past to kind
Hmm.
of pump it up. But if you don't have a syndication library like Seinfeld or something like that, it's going to be very difficult for them to create original content that people are really into.
Right.
You kind of need that. That was Netflix model. They needed The Office, they needed Friends, they needed all these products to create what they have today. Like a Stranger Things and things like that. I don't know how successful these guys will be at this. I think this is an experiment that's going to go really bad for
It's
them.
Yeah, it's gonna be a multi-year thing.
Yeah.
By the way, someone just sent me the link for where you can buy these things, which of
What?
course is not live yet, but you can see how much you'll get in trade if you have an existing iPhone.
Oh, so let's see.
So, for example,
Do
an
you?
iPhone 10R is worth $370.
What's an iPhone 7?
Let's see.
7 Plus.
iPhones. Okay. iPhone 7 Plus, $200. iPhone 7, 150.
I mean, that's not bad.
I mean,
I mean,
honestly,
is it worth trading it in at that point, or it's worth keeping it?
yeah, the going rate for an iPhone 7, I happened just to get an email about this, is roughly it's 150. So I think Swappa was offering up to 200. I don't remember the exact list, but it's kind of in line.
See, on their
But
website now, they show you if you go to apple.com
yeah.
and you're looking to kind of get the pricing of what this
Hmm.
device is, they will only show you the monthly cost with a trade-in of $600, and that is for an
Yeah,
iPhone
yeah, yeah.
10. So if you go with no trade-in,
Hmm.
right? I'm looking
Well,
at
they did this last year too, by the way.
45.79 a month.
Yeah.
Actually, basic. So let's go with Space Gray. Let's
Hmm.
go with 64 gigs. Are we going to go with
Well, by the way,
64
this
for the
is the other,
lowest?
they're doing this again, right? It's 64 and then 256.
And
And the
512.
upgrade difference, it's $150. That's
Yep.
terrible. That is
So if I
exactly
got the
what they did last year.
256, if I got the 256,
I want 128 Could I get
I won't.
128 for
Yeah, me
75?
too.
You
It's
know?
gonna cost me $52 a month. If I want the 64, 45. If I want the 512, 60.
Yeah. So on my iPhone 10R with 256, it's 36.62 a month or $880.
Holy moly! I'm looking at Apple iPhone upgrade program, Verizon device payment program, or Apple iPhone
Yeah.
payments. I could get it for $52 on Verizon, or I could get it for $60 through Apple with Apple Care included.
But the big
Jeez, that's
question is midnight
crazy.
green,
That's the big question here.
you
It
know?
is, I
Do
mean,
we
listen, I get it. I get the pricing. You don't have to buy it, but $60 a month for most people
by the way,
is a lot of money to spend on a phone.
yeah, well, yeah. One thing I really appreciate is that the pre-order time is 5 a.m. Pacific, which means it's 8 a.m. It's not like 1 o'clock in the morning like it has been many times,
Yeah,
middle of the night. So I don't
dude,
have to
it's
get up early if
expensive.
I'm gonna buy this stupid thing.
So you want to talk about the iPhone? Let's move on to the iPhone announcement
Hold on,
and what they
you're
announced.
jumping, you're jumping.
Oh, what did I miss?
The Apple Watch Series
Okay.
5, which I couldn't tell you one thing about it. Honestly, I don't
So
remember
I'm
anything.
on Therat.com.
Um,
You obviously did not write these
oh,
articles,
no, I
but
was busy talking with you and live tweeting at the
yeah,
same time.
Mahedi wrote them.
Yeah, you've reached the limits of my multitasking capabilities.
He wrote the new iPhones aren't the only thing Apple's launching today. In fact, the company's
Mhm,
Apple Watch is getting an upgrade too. The new Apple Watch Series 5 will have
mhm.
minor upgrades that aren't major hardware focus. In fact, Apple slightly
Yeah.
tweaked the design of the new iPhone Series 5 watch, introducing an always on display. So they're following what
Yeah.
Samsung does with their phones and with their watches as well. I believe those are always on displays. The other thing that Apple's claiming that the device has an 18-hour battery life, which is pretty impressive if accurate.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. I mean, again, my Fitbit has 7 days of battery life, but
Yeah.
whatever. It also has a black and white screen.
The new device
So
also comes in with a built-in compass because we all want that, and new
mhm,
compass app and Apple Map support.
sure. That's good. No, that I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
I tell you, I don't know one person.
Mhm,
Geez, I'm starting sounding a little lit right now.
mm,
I don't know one person that actually has a cellular model. They all have the GPS models of the Apple Watch.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think the concept of the cellular model is very interesting. I like the fact that you could have the device individually and you don't need your a companion to it. But in reality, the GPS model is all you need, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem with the LTE stuff is that, virtually no one has an option where they can just get that as part of some
Mm,
plan. They have to, everyone
yeah,
sells that as an extra. So
yeah,
you pay some extra a month to get a special connection just for your watch, and most people just don't want to do that.
yeah. So new Apple Watch, minor upgrades. They also announced the new entry level iPad, 10.2-inch iPad. So it's a little
So
bit bigger.
we got to look that up because I honestly, let's see, how do I find this out without blowing out my eyes on this incredibly bright
Yeah,
screen?
please do. I want you to turn
Um,
pasty white when you
yeah, yeah.
search.
So all right, so there's an iPad Pro, there's an iPad Air. These are all existing products. The iPad Air, like the Pro, was supported the keyboard and the pencil, but now the new iPad, which is the base iPad,
Yeah.
has a bigger display, just like the iPad Air. It supports the smart keyboard like the iPad. It's basically an iPad Air. I'm losing the script on. I'd have to compare these things side by side to understand what the difference is. But it probably some screen technology is not as good. But honestly, 329
Okay.
for a 10.2-inch display. Um, I don't know what to say. That is a fantastic price
Phenomenal.
for
Yeah.
no, it just is. And I know I need to know more because I know there's something going on with the screen that's not going to be as good or whatever, but that gets you it's a 32 gig device. If you want to go up to 128, you pay $100 more. Again, they really God, they
Yeah, but here's the
kill you
thing,
on that.
Paul. If we were to compare this to a comparable Android tablet
Mhm.
at 329, this is a
Oh, if
great
there
offer.
is no
This is the one
comparison.
to go to.
Samsung just put out a tab. I want to say it's S6, I think was the name of it. It's a 10.2-inch display. It's an iPad Pro competitor. So It's possible that this display technology is better. It certainly has smaller bezels. It's $650 just for that device. This is this is the iPad for most people. It's a great price. They've made it better. You just can't complain. There's nothing to say.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's a good one. It's a good one.
329, just like the previous iPad
Right.
9.7. It's going to be available September 30th, so in about 20
Yep.
days.
Yep.
And if you're a student or a teacher and you have a
Two.
.edu email address, which a lot of you
299.
guys do,
Mhm.
299 bucks.
Yep. Just like before, by the way. But yeah, but that's great. It is
Yeah.
again. I need to know a little bit more about the display. I know that's going to be the big thing, but like I said, for most people, I have the previous gen. So I have a 9.7. It's the last one before they added pencil support.
Okay.
Last year, when they came out with the pencil support version, it's identical to mine except for that support. Um, I want to say I got the I got 120 gigs. I probably paid. I don't remember. I don't want to say, but I probably paid a little less than what they're charging now because it was like a Christmas sale, whatever it was. But
Yeah.
these things are priced right. It's just it's a good place for them.
So I'm looking at I believe I have the original Air still, which works
Hmm.
great. My kids love it,
Hmm.
and I have the first generation Pro, the large Pro, which I kind of want to trade in. I want to get rid of. So if I'm kind of looking at getting something, this might be the moment to do it. But the reality is, I tend to not use it as much as I did. There was a moment that I was using these devices a lot more. I was using my iPad a whole lot more. It
I mean, I
was
use an
almost
iPad
my.
every day,
Do you really? What do you use it for?
literally, to read.
To read. Yeah, it was my reader. I had it next to my bed, but I've gotten so busy with work, I can't work on that thing. So
Yeah.
I always tend to work in bed. But you have all these great rules where you don't answer your phone after a certain time. You're a
Yep.
little bit
Yeah.
more disciplined about that. This kind of saturates my life. My kids
Okay.
take the iPad,
Yeah, I don't
and
bring a phone to bed or anything.
yeah, I find that amazing. I
I don't
find that
understand
amazing.
bringing a phone to bed. I don't like that. My wife has a phone next to her. I can't stand it. Freaking thing at 6 o'clock in the morning. You hear it over the table, like,
Yeah.
like all the notifications start coming in.
So 10.2 inch, 329. That was the other announcement that they made.
Yep.
Following this
Hmm.
was, did we go into iPhone right after
Was
this?
iPhone next?
iPhone 11.
I guess it was.
Yeah. So they're
Yeah. So
dropping
this
the
time,
XR name.
yeah. So that was yeah. I get what they're doing here. Obviously they want to differentiate the low end device from the more expensive devices. Last year they just had X or 10s and 10s Max, and then they had 10R. Because R is a letter before S. I guess I don't know. I think the non pro and the pro branding is smart, so that's good. And they went to 11 normal 11, not XI 11. Like Roman numeral 11.
Yeah.
I also think that's smart. They described the lower end device first. Also, I think that was smart. Um, and like the 10R today, it looks great and it's priced great, right? Was it 699? It must have been because last year the 10R started at 749,
Yeah.
and I remember it was actually lower, and so they actually lowered the entry level price. It was already a good deal for an iPhone, and it's LED, not AMOLED. It's got big bezels you can really see, but it's the same image, the same processing. I haven't looked, but last year with the 10R, remember they had the better upgrades on storage. I suspect they're doing that again. That's great if they are. Um, and so dual camera. It was a single camera last year, and I think by dual camera, if I'm not mistaken, it was wide and ultra wide, right? Not telephoto on the back. No, it looks great. I mean, that one looks good.
So
It's
something that someone in the chat brought up is that the old iPad
mhm.
was 9.7 inch. This one
Yeah.
is 10.2. It's the same chip.
Yeah, that's right. They didn't
A10.
up to you're right. But still, look, you're getting a much better. Well, you're getting a noticeably bigger display. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still whatever, and it supports the smart keyboard if you want that for some reason. So it's still a
Would
nice upgrade. It's still a great price.
So the iPhone 11, the camera's pretty good.
It looks good. This again. We're gonna have to see in real life how this works out. They finally started to do something about low light, right? And they've
Yeah.
been getting killed on commercials by Google. Huawei does a great job. Samsung does a decent job. They do a better job than Apple. So this will be the first time Apple has really tackled this problem. It's an area where they've been getting killed. They still haven't solved the 2x optical zoom thing, which blows my mind. It's literally what 3, 4 years later since the iPhone 7 Plus added it. What is it? Eight? Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but yeah, 3 years, 4 years. I don't know.
So
Seems
I
like an
just got a message
eternity.
from somebody saying, I just bought the XR. Do you think
Why?
they should
Why?
yeah, do you
Do
think
you
they
think we
should
should up? No,
yeah.
no. That's you're this. Listen, an iPhone 10, an iPhone 10s, an iPhone 10R. Those things are going to be great phones for a long time.
Hmm,
They didn't g I don't I again, I have to do, like, kind of a we watched an event, right? So we don't have all the
yeah,
details. People are gonna pick little things out of their website descriptions and the specs list, and they're gonna say, "Hey, look here, they did make a little change," you know? We need to know a little bit more, but from what I can tell, it's the same design. It's, the upgraded chips. There's always some improvement with the chips, but you're not gonna notice that year over year.
sure.
Like I said, the iPhone 10R is a great phone.
Yeah. So we got that. What came after this? The
Well, the
Pro?
10, the
10
Pro,
Pro.
the 11
Yeah.
Pro.
Yeah, the 11 Pro, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
The
so
big
that's
deal with
the
this
new,
is 3
10s.
cameras. 3 cameras
Right,
though, not
right.
1.
Yep, and so they added the telephoto.
Yeah.
So the thing they're doing there that's kind of interesting. They don't it's still two like I said, it's still 2x optical zoom on the telephoto, but the camera system will use all 3 cameras in tandem, and so you
And
can
it
actually go
does
minus x to 2x. In other words, you're looking at what we'll call it the normal image. You can use the telephoto to zoom out, optical 2x. You can use the ultra wide to zoom back. That's not optical, by the way, but whatever. Well, no, they said it was. So actually, I guess it is optical. But
yeah, they have a point
um,
0.5, a 1x, and a 2.
yeah. So it's technical. The way they described it, a little bit of sleight of hand, is a 4x optical zoom range, but it's really two different cameras doing two different things. But
Yeah.
it's okay. It's not like the 3 4x optical zoom out. Now we're going to call it, I guess, that I think a lot of people were looking for. Like I said, it's been a while, but same design as last year. There's a new color, same two screen sizes, same pricing, same expensive upgrade pricing. The base model 64 gigs. It's going to cost you $150 to go up from there to 256. They don't offer 128 like they did last year, like the same as they did last year. Um, no 5G.
No 5G,
Um,
nothing about 5G. Not even
nope.
no mention, which I'm shocked because that was the big
They
story
just
here
didn't.
was are they going to
Well,
do
they
it?
they bought Intel, and the Intel stuff was way behind. So this is a way they can, By the way, it honestly, Apple's always a little bit behind on the networking stuff. Um, what are we complaining about? Where exactly is 5G? Where
Yeah.
what's the harm? It's fine. I
Well,
think the problem is going to be
next year is the big story here because that's going to be the redesign of the device.
well, maybe. So that's I was thinking about that too. So off the top of my head, the first couple of iPhone gens, they used the same basic design. Actually, they used the first one 3 years, didn't they? Basically. The back went from metal to plastic, but they kept that for the 3G and the 3GS. So
Yeah.
there was a 3-year kind of point there.
And then you
The
had
4, the
4
4S, the 5, and the 5S were the same design,
glass.
although I know the 5S was taller. But it was the same, that kind of classic, the iPhone SE now, look and feel. So also, actually 4 years, the iPhone 6, the 7, and the 8 were all the same 3 years, right? But the iPhone 10, which came out the first year as the same year as
Redesign.
the 8,
Yeah.
is now, so now we're in the 3rd year. It is possible that they might keep this design one more year because people are upgrading far less anyway,
Well,
and less frequently.
2020 is it 2020 or 2021 for the new display, for the new touch display for
Oh,
authentication?
I don't remember that, but
I can't
yeah,
remember if it
maybe it
was
is next year,
2020.
but look, it's fine to put 5G into the next one if or whatever the redesign is, because that's another thing they can kinda talk about. It's also fine for them to use this design again, right? I think we can stop being, making fun of that. It actually makes sense, right? It's fine. The thing I wish they would do, because they just redesign the whole thing. They don't do little interim stuff. What they should have been doing, and I don't understand this, is how is it that the notch at the top isn't getting smaller? You know? And I'm sure it's for a software consistency thing. I'm sure they don't want developers to have to think about, having more space in the status bar or whatever it is, but it when the iPhone 10 debuted, I guess what 2 years ago now, that notch was humongous.
Yeah,
2
tremendous. Yeah.
years later, it's unconscionable. We don't have no one is making giant notches anymore. We've
Yeah.
got pinhole cameras, we got the little teardrop notch, we've got
Why
no
is Apple
notch.
doing it? Yeah, well, Apple's going to
I
change it.
it's just
Eventually, they're going to go back
no, of
to.
course. But they could be taking these interim steps to fix that, and they're not, and it just it's weird. You understand
Well,
that they're
remember,
one
it's
of the
Apple.
biggest and they are the most profitable smartphone maker in the world. How on earth d are they milking this for so long? It's
Well, remember, it's
crazy.
Apple. They don't make interim changes. They just make a change.
No, that's
There's
what I'm
not.
saying. Like, I don't that's something I think they kinda need to address.
Yeah. So,
It's too bad.
someone in the chat room brings up an interesting point. He goes, "It's really interesting. Apple introduced an ultra premium watch with titanium and ceramic. This
Yep.
is going to seep into the iPhone
Yeah,
with a
right.
ceramic body
Well,
or a
that's a good
titanium
point.
body."
So, next year, whatever whether it's the same design or a different design, they've established this notion that there is pro and non-pro, like they used to do on MacBooks, right? And, I guess maybe technically they kinda still do, I guess they have an Air and a Pro, whatever. Um, yeah, one of the ways you could make a device pro is to make it of more premium materials, and that would be
Yeah.
kind of an interesting direction for them to go. For that to happen, though, I think the what used to be called the 10R needs to become more like the base Pro is today, and then you could have that be the non-pro, and then the Pro and the Pro Max could be the ones that could come in titanium or ceramic or whatever materials they want to use. Anyway,
Um,
I thought it was pretty solid overall. I don't know. I expected to be slightly more interested in upgrading. Um, it's good that I have a few days to think about it,
yeah.
honestly, because I'm just not really sure.
I got to think. So right now, if you were me, right, and this is going to be a
Mhm.
question I'm asking the chat room and the viewers and you yourself,
Yeah.
if you were me and you
Yep.
have the iPhone 7 Plus, do
Yep.
you upgrade?
Yes.
You
Yeah. I would
do,
say, yeah, this is a no brainer. If you have a non iPhone 10 or newer, this is a no brainer upgrade because
unless.
you know what it is? No, this is like the car thing. You don't buy the new model Volkswagen the first year it comes out, right? You
Mm,
wanna buy it 8 years into its 10-year run or whatever. You because they figured out all the problems, everything's great. I think that's where the iPhone is today, the iPhone 10, whatever we're calling these things, 11. Um, if you ca I mean, the issue is gonna be if you hold on to this thing, you buy one today, it's 2019, and you hold on to it for 3 years or more, will you be impacted at the end of that by its inability to do 5G?
interesting.
And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so, right?
Well, okay. So let's break this down. We got if I buy this phone on Friday, I do the
Mhm.
pre-order,
Yep.
and now I got next year. They announce whatever.
Mhm.
The
Well,
let's
what is it though?
assume
That's the thing. What is
let's
but
assume
Andrew,
it's
what if it
the.
is all new? What if it is all new? And what if
Do
they
I
have an
want it?
in-screen fingerprint reader?
Yeah.
You don't want to get the first one. You
Yeah, you
don't
never
want
do.
that first one. Waiting for that would be a mistake. You wait for the one that comes after that or the third one because that's when they'll get that right because that first one's not going to work great,
Yeah. Listen, I made
you
that
know?
mistake with with the MacBook Pro, right? 2016 MacBook Pro.
Yeah. Well, sure.
2016 was it 2016? I got it in 2017,
It
and
doesn't
then they
always. I
gave
mean,
me a 2018. I'm
I
trying
bought
to
an
do the
iPad
math,
or a MacBook Air last year, and it's like the 3rd gen butterfly keyboard, and they clearly never got that right. So
dude. I
that's an
went through
example of this
four of
not working.
these. I went through four MacBook Pros. They just handed me the last one. They're like, "Listen, we totally screwed this up. Here's a 2018. Take it." My wife has the 2018 13-inch. It's right. It's at Apple right now for the third time. The keyboard
Hmm,
just does not work. Just
right.
stops. So and that's 3 years in. So maybe you're right. You have a point there. Maybe I should just get the current generation, whatever the new one is, and then wait.
Right.
Also, by the way, iOS 13 is going to be available 9/19.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So when is
By the way, it's gonna be available on 920?
what?
iOS 13.1. I'm not kidding.
Is there? Yeah, seriously?
I
I
think so.
assume so.
I
I
think
assume
that's the
so.
date. I think it's the
So
20th.
What's the
By the way,
MacBook? What's the Mac OS update? When is that coming out?
oh, probably the same, roughly the same time. I'm not really
Listen,
sure.
I
I
hope you
kind of
guys
expected it to drop today.
I hope you guys are enjoying this because I'm 3 hours into drinking and I'm starting to feel drunk, you
Right.
know?
By the way,
Uh, I'm gonna
you
regret
know what?
this tomorrow.
You know what we didn't hear anything about
What?
today?
Apple TV?
USB-C versus Lightning.
No, dude, they're not going USB-C. It's over. They're
Well,
gonna
that's what
stick
I'm
the
thinking.
lightning on
So, in
this.
other words, well, the fact that they didn't mention it suggests that it's Lightning. It's gonna be Lightning. I guess they probably showed the port at one point. I
But
didn't
they
see it.
are USB-C on the iPads, right? On the
Yeah,
iPad Pro.
on the iPad Pro, but
Yeah.
actually the iPad, I bet the 10 point, the normal non
Yeah.
Pro is probably USB-C.
Well, think
Uh,
about it. You want to
Lightning rather.
sell as many devices as you can. You want to sell as many accessories as you can. So if you
Hmm.
have a MacBook Pro, it's USB-C technically, right? It's Thunderbolt. You have an
Yeah,
iPad Pro, USB-C. But if you buy a cheaper iPhone or you buy an iPhone Pro, you still have to buy that plug.
right.
So if you're in the
But
ecosystem, you need two plugs to charge the device.
sure. You also need a special cable to connect your phone to your laptop, which is just something that does not come in the box. Although they could have fixed that. Remember, they showed the fast charger, which for Apple is like
Yeah.
slightly faster charger. It's a bigger charger. And I wonder if the connector that goes into that charger is USB-C, like it's lightning into the phone, USB-C into the little guy.
So
Like
here's a question.
that would be the right way to do
I
that.
got a question for you from the Skinny Pig NYC.
Mhm.
Instagram blogger, verified on Twitter.
Okay.
She actually asked John Prosser this question, and I wrote a really mean thing to her, and I said, "Why the
Wow.
f would you ask him?" I kind of got
Okay.
angry.
Okay.
She says, she bought she has the 10s right now.
Yep.
How much better is the camera going to be for her for what she does?
Um,
That's a good question because she's in the business of
yep.
photography, and really for her, taking those unbelievable shots goes a
So
really long
the
way.
right, the one place that you might see the biggest difference is low light, right? I think if for well lit photos, I don't think you're going to see much of a difference for food photos. But again, we have to test these things. But
Yeah, but you go into a restaurant,
I know a lot of times restaurant lighting is terrible, and what you don't want to do is be flashing like a giant explosion of light in the middle of a restaurant. So the low light thing might make a huge difference. I will say that progressively, like through the Pixels, and then the Huawei's, the Mate 20 Pro last year, and the P30 Pro this year. Those take the best food photos I've ever taken, ever. Like they're amazing.
with the Huawei.
I Yeah, I don't think that Apple's going to be able to
Yeah,
duplicate that,
interesting.
but
I'm
we'll see. I mean,
curious.
that might be the one area where it makes a difference over the
Yeah.
10s.
The other thing we didn't hear about, and I was anticipating since it's a companion to the iPhone, is
Hmm.
the future of the AirPods.
Yeah, I,
I was anticipating there would be because
well,
Paul,
they
I'm
revved them this year,
shocked.
didn't they?
They did rev them, but it's the holiday season coming up. I thought that maybe they would do another rev. Um, I
Yeah,
don't know why I thought this in thinking
right.
what I just said. They shouldn't, but I honestly thought there would be another rev of this. I'm one of the only people that walks around New York City with an iPhone that doesn't have these stupid AirPods. I'm
Sure.
judged.
Yeah.
Teenagers, kids are judging me,
Sorry.
looking at me with a dongle attached. I literally have the old iPhone cable because I need to plug
Right.
it into my laptop with a dongle attached. I'll probably
Yep.
get the AirPods also now because there was nothing announced.
Interesting. Maybe there'll be a like a Black Friday sale or something.
Maybe. I'm waiting for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So obviously, if we're summing this up, new iPhone, three
Mhm.
cameras, not with two. Uh,
iPhone Pro.
the iPhone got the camera from the iPhone 10s. The iPhone
Mhm.
Pro got another got another lens on their camera.
Yep.
There's
Yep.
dedicated night mode on the iPhone 11 that you don't have on the iPhone. You don't have on the X on the
Well, as someone
10s.
observed, shouldn't that be a software update?
Of
Like, there's
course, it
nothing
should be.
special about the iPhone 11 that enables that. And yes, but that's the Apple way. I mean, you never know. Maybe is that a feature in iOS 13? I don't think so, but yeah, we'll see. I bet that does not come to the 10s.
I
But
wonder if
that's
someone's
too
going to be
bad
able to
because it could.
jailbreak that. I know that jailbreaking is not a thing anymore as much as it used to
Yeah.
be. But I'm willing to bet that there will be some sort of jailbreak that,
Right.
puts it on if you really need to have it.
I don't know.
You know what else I'm curious about? Now they're obviously software-wise, they're regulating the products, right? They're putting a governor on the performance and on features based on
Okay.
device to software.
What do you mean?
Like iOS 13 is iOS 13, except if
Mhm.
you have the latest phone, then you have features that another phone won't have.
Um, all right, so like this, the night
Like
mode,
this
for
camera.
example, or
Yeah,
the
like the
night
night
shot or
mode.
whatever calling it.
It's in iOS
Um,
13. It's a feature within iOS 13, but
yeah, but it
except
only surfaces on the newest devices.
only on the newest devices.
Yeah, what I'm
How
saying is, if that's true, that's artificial. I think that they could have done it on the 10s.
I believe they could
Um,
have 100%, but
yeah,
where the
like I don't
do they
understand
they
not doing it.
obviously do this with with iPad OS. When does it hit Mac OS? When do they start doing features like this on Mac OS?
Uh, hmm. I mean, honestly, this isn't super uncommon. In some ways, it's a little surprising they don't do more of it when you think about it. Um,
Well, I mean, if you look at Windows, imagine if Windows did this.
well, Windows technically does do it, right?
In what way?
You don't just get Windows Hello with any camera. You don't just get, you have to have certain hardware components to get certain features.
Yeah. But if your
I don't know.
camera was capable, if your camera, if you have a Windows Hello camera on an older version, and then all of a
I
sudden
hear you.
now,
Yeah, I
it's
just,
interesting to kind of look at it that way.
I'm trying to decide if this is nefarious. I mean, Apple's within their right to try to do what they can to incent you to upgrade. You know, I agree. I believe, I don't, without really knowing for sure, that, like I said, the iPhone XS could handle this night shot mode, whatever it's called. If it does not appear on that phone, it will probably because they only tested it on the new one, because the intention all along was only to ship that on the new one.
Yeah.
And that's one of the differentiators they're using to try to get people to upgrade. And it's probably their right to do that. I don't know that you can, you know, I I understand the complaint. I'm probably making it myself, but I also kind of understand it. I don't think it's that. I don't know. I'm not sure if that's a huge problem or not.
So more details from Thurrott.com. Nothing Paul has written today because I took
Yeah,
up
no,
all his
you
time.
gotta read the other stuff
This
by
is
other
another
people.
Mahedi article.
Hmm.
As we said,
Mahedi loves
iOS
to do his
13.
events.
He's great, by the way. He's so
Yeah.
good. iOS 13 on September 19th. It's going to be
Hmm.
released. 13.1 will be released a few days after, later on September 30th, not the 20th.
Not the 20th. Okay.
13.1 will be released on the 30th. However, Mac
Hmm.
owners with Catalina, it's October,
Oh, okay.
which is interesting.
There's nothing really important there from what I can remember, but
Well,
whatever.
no, there was iOS app developers, iOS apps on the
Oh,
Mac.
right. Of course. I'm
That's a
sorry.
big deal.
Yes,
And
that's
Sidecar,
true.
which is
Right.
a big deal for a lot of people. Obviously, you've
Yep.
been able to do that Sidecar feature for a long time. There are third-party applications that do it, but having it within the operating system makes it a lot better. Screen time, new privacy options, voice control, and some other things. But overall, the big news here is app support, iOS app
Right.
support on the Mac.
Okay.
And then Watch OS 6 is coming out the 19th as well.
Hmm.
So the latest version of Watch OS. So that was that. Was there anything we missed from the Apple stuff?
I think. Well, could we have to talk about the important retail update, Andrew?
Oh God,
Uh,
that's what I started the show with. The Fifth Avenue store, guys.
oh
That
boy.
big giant cube, that you guys, if
Mhm.
you've been to New York on
It's
Fifth Avenue,
reopening.
you've seen it.
How exciting!
Reopening. Very
Yep.
excited. I know Mary Jo
Woo.
Foley personally told me she's very
Ah, yeah.
excited for this.
We'll probably do a live episode of Windows Weekly from there someday.
You know what? Can you please do that? Do you
You're
think
like,
you'd
"What
be
are you
thrown
doing?"
out?
Well, I mean, we we wouldn't just do it impromptu.
No,
We
no, no.
would
I
have to
think
get
you should
some
just go show up. Just
just
show
show
up
up
and
and
do
no,
win.
no, no,
Yeah.
no, no. No, 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 no. Oops.
To kind of get away from the Apple stuff. Yesterday
Okay.
you had. Are we done with Apple? Are we
I
over it?
thought, are we done? Are we just done?
Are we
We're not
done? No,
really
I
gonna talk
just
about more stuff, are we?
no. One more thing. I want to
It's like
talk about the
2 and a
Pixel
half hours
4.
later, dude. What are you
I'm
like,
so loaded right now, Paul. Jeez. I
I
gotta make shish kebabs in like 5 minutes. I've been marinating all day. Um, Pixel 4. Anything on
what?
this? Pixel 4.
What? Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff, but what but who cares? Whatever. I mean, it's like
I
next
I
month.
I know, but I wanted to kind of compare it because it
No,
was
come
those
on.
leaks came out around the same time. All right, we'll end it.
Ugh.
Forget it. We'll talk about it next week. So yeah, we did about four. How many hours are we? 3.5 hours
Four and a
into
half
this.
hours is what it felt like.
Anything? Do you think this is a good hardware release for the iPhone, or it just it's fine?
It's honest. It's I don't know what to call this. It's typical. It's a standard Apple upgrade. The iPad came in great. I think that for whatever reason, the pricing on those two services is great. And the iPhone it's solid. It's as expected. It's not 5G. It's not they didn't go up on the optical zoom. It's fine. It's fine. It's what they
Yeah.
needed.
Is who's doing real 4X optical right now? Huawei.
Huawei does I think it's real is it 5 or 8? 5 something 5x optical?
That's impressive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing is what it is.
Yeah.
It works great.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's it for this week. Paul, for all things Paul Thurrott, go to Thurrott.com. You can follow him at Thurrott. Listen, I'm a drunken Andrew Zarian. I can't even say my
Yep.
name. Jesus. And it was just white wine. The problem is I ate nothing today, and I'm sitting in a hot room dying. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian. You know what, though? I'm going to tell you something. For someone that's 4 glasses of wine in, I can still do a show. It's a little noticeable. I go up an octave. You can follow me at Andrew Zarian. This was a lot of fun. Paul, do you remember the last time we didn't do this for a long time? I would
Yeah.
like
Well,
to
it's hard to
continue
do
doing
this.
these.
I there are certain expectations on Twitter.
I know. You're a big tweeter during these
Yeah,
events.
it's hard.
You are the next time you're in New York. You're in New York for the Apple event. Jeez, the Microsoft event, right? The Surface event
Yep.
next month.
Yep. October 2nd.
If you want to record anything that day, because it's a Wednesday, I have a studio that's available, and it's really nice looking. So,
Yeah, we don't know. It will depend on what the schedule is for the event. We're
what
still
time?
trying
Do
to
you know the time of it?
Nope. That's the problem. We don't know anything about it.
Oh, and Microsoft likes to
I know.
do those 5 p.m.,
I know.
6 p.m.
So we know the
events.
day that, we know it's going to interrupt Windows Weekly. The problem is we might actually have to do the show the next day, in which case I would just go home. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Well, I'll probably see you in New York when that happens. But
Yeah,
all right,
definitely.
guys,
Definitely.
that's it for this week. We're not going to do a Patreon show. I'm going to put this on Patreon. This is going to be a Patreon show because we did so much, and you guys are kind of seeing how I fell apart as a human being over the last couple hours. So that'll be your bonus. And we'll see you all next time. Take care.